You ready to do our new segment on the show?
Can you hit our new jingle, Carl? Creepos.
That's right. Who are these creepos on the Creep Off? And I went ahead and I checked out a show that we've talked about before on Who Are These Podcasts. My Favorite Murder, a show hosted by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark.
Oh, these two again?
Ooh, my favorite, very popular true crime show. And I just want to point out the reason why we're doing this segment is because we're petty and we want to prove that we are the best true crime podcast on the internet. Mm-hmm. Is that why we're doing this?
I'm with you. Let's fucking get them.
All right, let's go. I think it starts off, I think they're fucking with me. This is the very first thing you hear when you start playing their show.
This is exactly right.
Oh, they can pronounce words correctly. La-ti-da.
How are their teeth?
Perfect. Fucking
assholes.
So the way this show works is it starts off with 17 minutes of banter between these two that's completely unnecessary and boring as hell. And then they each read like a true crime story that they just randomly select. I don't know why or how. None of it makes sense to me. So this is their banter when they start things off.
What's new with you?
Well, we saw each other at that party.
Oh, yeah.
Which we were at the Lady to Lady 10-year anniversary party, which congratulations.
Epic.
We've said it, I think, already, but
Yeah.
it's still such a huge accomplishment.
All right. So apparently,
Really boring.
Apparently they were at a party recently, and it was the 10-year anniversary of Lady to Lady. Are you familiar with this podcast?
No.
I wasn't either. And I went, what is this that they're talking about? Lady to Lady is a podcast hosted by comedians Babs Gray, Brandy Posey, and Tess Barker. Are you familiar with these comedians?
Brandy Posey? I don't know. That name sounds familiar.
Brandy Posey and Tess Barker.
Nope. Can't say that I really am.
That's weird because you work at a comedy club and you have all these comedians that come through. I feel like you would know.
Yeah, the best of them.
You interview comedians for a living. I would think that you would know if these people are comedians. Interesting. Let me read you the description because I think this Lady to Lady show is something we might want to check out at some point. Each week, Babs, Brandy, and Tess are joined by a guest for an unfiltered session of sleepover games, pop culture discussion, and hilarious admissions. Each episode ends with the earnest advice segment, Lady Problems.
I wouldn't listen to that if the sleepover game they played was Hide the Bottle with Johnny Depp. I wouldn't fucking listen.
Lady to Lady particularly showcase the vast wealth of female identifying artists working today. In addition to being ridiculous and funny, the ladies encourage their listeners to be their bravest, best, and most honest selves. So this is one of these podcasts that does all the right things for the political correct world. So they are featured everywhere.
What I don't fucking...
They're on every list of every podcast you have to listen to. Lady to Lady. Wow, what an amazing show. Empowers women.
Can I tell you something? Empowering people and being your true self
Ugh.
is the worst form of entertainment.
It's
not.
It's not.
It's garbage.
It's what you learn in kindergarten. That's the type of shit that you teach kindergartners. Like yourself.
But sometimes people need a booster and they need to be reminded
Women.
how great they are.
Not people, women, for some reason.
All right.
Men don't have shows like that. So where we talk about how maybe they do, actually, now I think about it. We talk about how being a guy is cool. You be the best guy you can be, guy.
There's a local comic who just posted a thing. He's an older dude, and he's like, I have a new podcast. It's me just talking about how I tackle self-doubt. And I'm just like, it sounds like a fucking suicide note.
Oh, no.
These people. I don't care about who your true self is. I care if you could entertain me or provide me the information that I'm looking for at any given moment.
Well, these women cannot do that, but what they can do is name drop because when they were at this Lady to Lady party.
When I was 12, I knew the president.
Good callback.
Thank you.
When they're at the Lady to Lady party, a person came up to one of these hosts. We're back on the My Favorite Murder again now, and introduced herself.
And I'm looking at her like, how do I know? I know this girl. And then 3 sentences in, I go, wait a second, are you Jodie Sweetin? And then she's like, yeah, and starts laughing.
Drop! That's right. The middle child from Full House is a fan of their show. And she was very excited about
Are you
this.
Jodie Sweetin? And then Jodie Sweetin laughed and said yes?
Yeah. That was
What
the
is she
story.
laughing at?
I have no idea. Vinny, this is what women do. They say, yeah, that is my name.
I No, I'm married to one. Ugh.
All right. I don't know if there's anything more boring than listening to people talk about looking at TikTok. This is something every fucking podcast is doing this now. Did you see what was on TikTok? I don't know. Did I? Who cares?
Speaking of, how's your TikTok life? Mine is stalled completely.
You stalled out on TikTok?
I can't. It's too hard. I've given up.
The only thing I do is watch videos. I don't interact. I
Okay.
don't do anything. And then send videos.
Okay.
And
Who fucking cares?
See, Vinny, you and I could have gone on for another 15 minutes about this Bills-Dolphins game. I stopped it because I know people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
These women have no understanding.
And I
of that
wrote
at
a
all.
gag. I got a Carl's tooth. I mean, come on.
I know, the whole thing.
Yeah, we did. We prepared it and we tried to make it entertaining.
But these women try to find things to talk about. Oh, have you been looking at TikTok? Oh, yeah, I was looking at TikTok. I stopped. Now I'm doing it again. Like, what? What's going on? It's the true crime show. And then they get into recommending books that you can read. And this is hilarious, Vinny, because she describes this book as one of these murder mystery types of books.
Okay.
So the one thing you probably don't want to do is reveal who the murderer is when you're recommending people read it. Wouldn't you think, Vinny? You'd want to
Probably
keep that.
good move. Good move.
what are you up to?
Nothing. Reading. I have a book recommendation. It's called Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. And it's like a whodunit murder story. But the whodunit, the way she finds out is by she goes back in time. So it's like a time travel murder whodunit. And the murderer is her son. So the mom wants to solve her son's crime.
Great.
It's an amazing book. It's a great murder mystery. The butler did it.
Right. She immediately
What
had
the
to spit it out.
Fuck you, idiot.
It's one of those whodunit books. And guess what? It was the son.
I bet her audience is dumb enough to, after listening to that, thinking they read.
Yes.
Like, I think they're like, oh,
They probably grabbed the book and were still surprised.
I heard about a great book.
Yeah. Fucking idiots.
The son did it.
So, Vinny, I think you and I do a lot of show prep for the shows that we do together, this show
Correct.
and Who Are These Podcasts.
We are the greatest tag team in the history of podcasting at Show Prep.
I wouldn't argue with you on that, my friend. Now, it's a wrestling reference.
We're just talking shit today, folks.
It's a wrestling reference. Drink. What do you want? So I like to know how other podcasters prepare for their show. What is their process to go through and find this? Now, this is a true crime show. We do a true crime show. So I want to know, like, how do they find the stories that they're going to cover?
This is a story I've never heard. And I was basically Googling for news stories and kind of just doing general random searches. And this was an article that was linked on the side of another page that I was on. And so I looked up, it was a 2001 New Yorker article by a writer named Mark Singer about this case.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens, timing wise, that the 54th anniversary of this murder is tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
So it's the perfect day for me to tell you about the murder of Carol Jenkins.
Okay.
She picked the case, Vinny, because she randomly, through random Google searches, saw it on the sidebar of a website that she got to. And it just so happens that it was kind of 54 years ago that this happened. Not really, but kind of 54. So it's perfect to do it now.
Can I ask you a question?
None of that makes sense.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Of course,
Because like
buddy.
that really did a number on my brain. I was like, what am I listening to?
Yeah.
But I've never been that boring, right?
I wouldn't be here if you were ever that boring.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I know sometimes I get into the details.
Holy shit, wait
but
a
that
second.
was so fucking bad.
Wait a second. Do we need to do Don't Doubt Yourself? Do we need to do like a pep talk right now?
I don't know, man. I'm having a bad day, and that shit just was like, what am I listening
What
to?
the fuck are you listening to? So then she goes on to read us this story that she found out. So this was a murder victim from 1968 in Indiana. Just the most random fucking horseshit nonsense of a non-story you could possibly find. If this is what their show content is, why doesn't everyone have a popular true crime show? This is very easy to do. You're reading an article you found.
Exactly. And listen, the fact of the matter is Carl doesn't even read the articles. He just plays YouTube videos. So, like, there's other ways to do prep for this, ladies, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the reading part is what's really throwing me off. Like, what? You read it? And then there were another article after that? All right, so this is her attempt at humor. I guess these women fancy themselves comedians as well. This woman, the victim in this story, was selling encyclopedias, going door to door, selling encyclopedias. And get ready for this humor.
Children who are listening, encyclopedias were this series of books that we had back in the 80s. And it was like the internet on paper.
It was like Google on in like 26 books.
There have been no laughs.
What do you mean?
None.
Hey, kids, you ever heard the word encyclopedia before? Get it? Because we don't use them anymore. Yeah, I get it.
They were in pieces of paper, like books.
It was like Google.
But it was books.
All right. So the victim was walking by herself in 1968. And she's saying that back then, women didn't know any better. They didn't know that that could potentially be dangerous. Because 1968, Vinny, I don't know if you know what was going on there. But according to these women, we were just out of Leave It to Beaver times.
Okay.
And especially in a time where people, as we will discuss, people can't admit there are predators.
Right.
And there is this violence kind of waiting. Like this was that time where it's like a little after Leave It to Beaver where it's like, no, we're still,
innocent.
baseball, apple pie. Yeah, exactly.
You're off by about 10 years, honey.
You're way off. This is during the Vietnam War. There were protests. There were riots. 1968 was not like a Leave It to Beaver time. And also, Leave It to Beaver
The
wasn't Leave It to
Beatles
Beaver
were
time.
doing acid at this point.
Yes,
like,
right,
stop
yeah.
it, lady.
Magical Mystery Tour was out, all right? So this idea that this woman's going, yeah, it was like Leave It to Beaver. Even during Leave It to Beaver times, that was the entertainment they put on television. It's not what real life was, just so you know. She's like,
yeah, TV was bad then. What's your point, lady?
She goes, back then, people weren't scared to walk by themselves. Yeah, that's because everyone listens to fucking true crime podcasts now, and they all think they're going to be a murder victim. It's okay to walk by yourself.
We could only hope.
And most people survive walking by themselves, but everyone's supposed to be terrified of everything now.
Oh, I hate that.
So then they get into this conversation because this woman was a woman of color about sundown towns. Are you familiar with this term, Vinny?
I am familiar with sundown towns.
Okay. So this gets into a whole conversation about sundown towns and what they were, and you can find out what towns used to be sundown towns, and then she tells you how to look that up.
So you can actually go and look up in your state or near your town what towns were sundown towns. So you can go to justice.tougaloo, which is spelled TOUGALOO.edu/sundown towns. And did you know Glendale was a sundown town?
Glendale, like the town near us?
No, she was picking a random one nowhere near you for conversation.
Are we sure that Tougaloo isn't a slur? What the fuck?
I know, I was wondering about that one too. What's that mean? So apparently, during this true crime show, now I have to go research the history of race relations in this country. And she goes on and on about the problem with sundown towns. Like, yes, I know. We had problems. It's a lot of civil unrest.
It's
because
easy
of it.
to find the sundown towns, the high property values. I'm just fucking kidding.
Holy shit. Put that in the act, my friend. That's pretty good. So I looked up this Glendale, California, I guess was a sundown town. And I looked up an article that said, residents urged the Glendale City Council to pass a resolution apologizing for its history as a sundown town, making it the first city to do so in California. Well, good job, Glendale. You apologize as a town? That's going to fix everything, you fucking idiots. These people are out of their minds. Anyway, this show sucks.
How big of them?
How big? Yeah, I know. Way to be the bigger town. Fucking idiots.
I mean, don't you think that like repealing the laws is like when you say, "Hey, sorry about that, we're repealing the law."
That is the apology. Yes, we fucked up.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this anymore. Right.
Yeah.
That's the apology.
And now we go our separate ways. Let's
Right.
just end this here.
Exactly.
All right. So
All right. So that's who are these creeps this week. We'll
my
keep these brief and
favorite
short.
murder.
I just wanted to update everyone on my favorite murder and what a crap show that is.
The worst.
Not good.
We're better.